how hookup culture can be detrimental. So I know in the red pill spaces, we always hear about how women have a hard time pair bonding or what have you, right? And we never talk about the male aspect of it. So when I say pair bonding, I mean, if you're new to this term, very commonly used term, it pretty much means bonding to a person for long enough, building an emotional connection, right? And what hookup culture does to man and woman alike, believe it or not, believe it or not, it happens to men too. Yes, it happens to men too. What hookup culture does is it weakens your ability to bond with somebody, man and woman alike. See, what happens is that every time a woman gets with a man, this man penetrates her. After the penetration happens, now this man's spirit, his energy, his seed, his characteristics, his spirit goes into this woman, right? This is not a myth. This is not a fable. This is facts. This is true. When this man leaves, eventually, because this is just the culture that we live in, when this man leaves, she is left with a void. He took a part of her with him, and vice versa. And vice versa, gentlemen. I know we want to believe that men are these, players and dogs, and we just go around running through chicks and with no repercussions. No, 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 no. That's not how this works. Okay. And one thing in a red pill echo chamber is that it's, the red pill loves blaming women for everything, right? And yes, true, young ladies do have a bad judgment of character when it comes to choosing men, especially when they're younger, primarily when they're younger. They choose the guys that are quote unquote hot. But in the same token, these guys have no good intentions. So on both parties, there's flaws on both ends. The young girl can't really she's ignoring all the red flags about this dude. She sees he talks to many other women. She sees that he's not involved in the most studious activities, right? Smoking weed and drinking liquor and skipping school are not the most productive activities out there, okay? But she ignores this. She lets him in her body. Bam. This young man goes in her body. He probably sweet talked her. She liked what she saw. And then after he does that, they might have sex a couple more times. But usually it breaks off. It fizzles out. Now what ends up happening is a piece of her is now with him and vice versa. So now she goes on to her second body. Then she goes to her third body. Fourth, fifth, 10th, 20th, 40th. With this hookup culture, people are reaching astronomical numbers when it comes to body counts. And guys, I'm not preaching to y'all because Lord knows that I'm guilty of this too. You know, I make videos all about attraction. I'm like almost all my videos are about that, but I would feel guilty if I didn't tell you the repercussions, right? So what happens gradually? And I'm talking about the young ladies, and I'm gonna get to men after this. This young lady acquires all of these bodies, all of these men that had no good intentions. It's just body after body after body, and her body literally turns into a cemetery of men, a cemetery of souls. This is why most chicks that you meet, especially when they get up in age, cannot stop talking about their exes. Most women that you meet will constantly talk about their exes. Do you know why that is? Because he took a piece of her with him, and a piece of him is in her at the same time. So both people in the interaction come out with a piece of themselves missing, but a piece of themselves stays in the other person. This is where depression comes in. This is where anxiety comes in. This is where the need for constant validation. This is why now young ladies, it used to just be young men, but now young ladies need to have sex for validation, because every time they catch a new body, they feel empty. It gets worse and worse and worse. These women begin to be bitter, angry, depressed, extremely jealous. This is not a coincidence, fellas. This is not a coincidence. And I'm not getting religious here at all. This is not a religious rant. This is something that is very true. Why do you think depression is an all-time high? Hookup culture is a huge part. It's not the only part, but it is a huge part. People just think it's fun, it's recreational, and let's not get it twisted. Having sex is very fun, right? But with fun comes consequences. Smoking crack, that's extremely fun too. One of the best feelings on earth, I've heard. But guess what? It comes with consequences, dire consequences. This is the same thing with hookup culture, fellas. It comes with consequences. Don't think when you stick your little wee wee inside of women that there is nothing that comes out of it, right? Don't think you're just going to do it and you're just going to be this Mac player pimp. See, this is where the red pill, it gives you a half truth. They always want to pin it. They always want to say the detrimental effects on women, and they make it seem like a man is the one that's just the pimp player, victorious one when he hooks up with a lot of women. No, this is not true. Why do you think why when most guys break up with a woman, why do you think their whole world shatters? Right? It's not because they're beta like most of these red pill channels. Let me tell you something. These guys that always talk about this guy is beta this and this guy beta that, those are some of the most wounded and hurt guys out there. The reason that they are the way they are, the reason why they sound so angry and emotional is because they were hurt bad, right? So why do you think it is when men go through a breakup, their whole earth is shattered? And God forbid, but it does happen a lot, they are suicidal. And yes, there's a scientific explanation to it, like, oh, the core, the dopamine and all that good stuff. Yeah, I understand that. But we live in a spiritual world. I wholeheartedly agree that we live in a very spiritual world. Some things just science cannot explain. You know, when a young lady leaves a man, it leaves a huge hole. Every time a man hooks up with a woman, there is, whether you want to admit it or not, no matter how quote unquote alpha you are, no matter how quote unquote of a tough guy you are, there is an emotional connection there. And when this young lady that has been scorned 30 plus times, she caught 30 plus bodies, when she leaves him because she can't pair bond, now she scorns the guy. And this is a constant cycle. The man has hookup after hookup after hookup. With every single hookup, he becomes more and more jaded. He becomes more and more bitter. He becomes more and more hurt. It's almost impossible for him to form any kind of connection, And if he does form a connection, he's so scorned and and hurt that he does not even want to commit, because he's just so hurt from the past. And once again, the relationship ends up fizzling out, and we have a vicious cycle. This same guy goes out, hooks up with somebody, meaningless hookup, because he thinks it's going to make him happier. He thinks it's going to validate him. Then he has an empty hole once again. He just gave a piece of himself to another chick. Then when things fizzle out, he's going to be even more hurt and have even more emotional baggage. Oh yes, men have emotional baggage too. Men have emotional baggage too. That's why you see all these men that are angry. Yeah, I said it. I mean, it's no big secret. I mean, we all have eyes. We all have common sense that we can see that these guys have been hurt over and over again. This is what happens in hookup culture, guys. This is the detriment. This is the harm that it does. So please do not think it's just something casual. Please know it has repercussions. Everything that is quote unquote fun, everything that's quote unquote a quick thrill, such as drugs, alcohol, hookups, all these quick instant gratification methods have side effects, have consequences, detrimental consequences. That's why a lot of these men walking around are hurt and they can't get over their ex. They keep thinking about their ex. Every time they get with a new chick, they're constantly thinking about their old ex, constantly comparing her, right? Same thing with, it's even worse with women. It's way worse with women, actually, even though men get it too, like I said, but it is way worse with women. See, when women are stuck on their ex, it's, man, good luck. If you're with a young lady and she keeps constantly bringing up her ex, man, all I can say is, bro, good luck. You know, all I can say is good luck with that, because that emotional connection it's a tie. It's a soul tie. If you guys never heard about that, like I said, I'm not getting religious, but it is literally that guy's soul is tied into her. Him and all the rest of the other men that are inside of her, the cemetery that's inside of her. of all those bodies. So please, fellas, before you get out here and think that hookups and having these casual flings is fun, yeah, it's fun. It feels good. Don't get it twisted. It feels great. But there's consequences, fellas. All right. So with that being said, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Just be careful out here, fellas. Peace.